your resume is not a biography where you just list everything about you, but it's an answer to a specific questions an employer is asking.
You sent over 1,000 resumes and got no response.
My case was investing in myself when I had every reason not to, because I was broke.
Can you tell me what the real turning point was? Was it like the skill, the mindset, or strategy that quietly changed the course of your journey?
When something isn't working, you should not do more of it because it will not help.
If you've ever sent a resume, a cold email, or a pitch deck and heard nothing back, this episode is your wake-up call. So can you tell me what the one uncomfortable truth about how opportunity really works that you think most junior job seekers still do not want to accept?
The uncomfortable truth is that nobody owes you an opportunity just because you applied. The job market doesn't reward effort. It actually, I think, it usually rewards relevance.
Okay, so what buzzwords or mistakes should we watch out for while using like AI to write our resumes? If you've ever sent a resume, a cold email, or a pitch deck and heard nothing back, this episode is your wake-up call. My guest today is Andrei. He went from 1,000 rejections and 0 replies to building NovoResume, a platform used by over 18 million people to actually get hired. In this episode, we're not just talking about resume tips. Andrei actually breaks down the systems he uses to turn rejection into leverage, how he turned a personal career hack into a global product, and why most AI-generated resumes and LinkedIn profiles quietly fail in the first 6 seconds. So if you're a Gen Z founder or even a future founder, listen closely, because this episode doubles as a playbook for how you position yourself, how you hire your first team, and how you build your long-term career capital in the AI job market. Stick around to the end because Andrei exposes what generic tools get wrong and then gives you a practical hiring and career playbook that you can start using this week. Andrei, thanks so much for joining us here today, and I'm so glad to have you here. How are you doing?
Happy to be here with you. I'm doing great, yeah, and thanks for the invitation. I always like to give back advice or whenever I can, and I know how hard it is for people when they are young, because I've been through this when I was 19. So happy to talk with you.
Thank you, Andrei. All right, Andrei. So you sent over 1,000 resumes and got no response, but now millions use your product to get noticed. So when you zoom out, can you tell me what the real turning point was? Was it like the skill, the mindset, or strategy that quietly changed the course of your journey?
Yeah. So if I have to think, I think honestly, it was none of them individually, because I think the real turning point in my case was investing in myself when I had every reason not to, because I was broke. I couldn't find a job after like 1,000 plus application. As you said, I was going back. It was 2012. I had my resume printed, and I was going to every bar, every cafe in Copenhagen that I could see, and there was no answers. And I was seriously considering leaving Denmark to go work in Cyprus, because my father was working there at the time. So I was thinking to go there, work for 1-2 years in a cafe there or something, and then get money and come back. But then I heard a Spotify ad, I think it was at the time, because I had a Spotify Basic, and it was about this European bartender school where you could do a 1-month intensive course and then you could pay in installments. So and after I decided to sign to that because I didn't have any, let's say, real skill back at the time. So my resume had nothing to put on it. And instead of sending then the same empty CV to 1,000 places, I thought it's better to stop and get one concrete verifiable skill. And then after I took that course, it was a 1-month intensive course. I updated my CV one evening, and then the next day I already got a call because I had that certificate. And I think that taught me something I still carry today with me, that when something isn't working, you should not do more of it because it will not help. I think you have to change what you're bringing to the table. And I think, this applies to job searching, building a business, to everything in life.
So Andrei, just tell me more about the 19-year-old you landing in Denmark. If you were to frame that as a founder decision, was it a calculated one, an emotional escape, or really a forced pivot? And how should a young founder think about moving as a career choice?
Yes, so I think it was calculated in direction, but if I have to think now, it was very naive in execution because I knew I wanted to study abroad and I did the research. I picked Denmark over UK at that point, but I had zero idea what I was actually walking into. I didn't know anyone. I didn't speak Danish. I didn't speak the language, and it was 2012. So I think it was then when Denmark was still very deep affected by the 2008 crisis, because here it came a couple of years later. And even native Danish people were struggling to find work. So let alone a 19-year-old Romanian like me that just showed up. But to the other part of the question, like what I would tell young founders about moving as a career decision, I would say to do it. And not because it's comfortable, because it's actually very uncomfortable. And it actually forces you to be resourceful in ways that you didn't think you can be. Because when you have no safety net, no network, no fallback, you kind of develop these problem-solving muscles that stays with you forever. So, because my co-founders, Stefan and Christian, and we build NovoResume for a global audience from Copenhagen. And I genuinely believe that this would not have happened if I had stayed in my comfort zone in Romania and gone to university and having money from my parents, let's say.
So, Andrei, you did mention a bit of your dip during your first year in Denmark, but can you tell me the moment you came closest to giving up? And during that time, was there a specific habit or system that you built that is still part of how you operate as a founder today?
Yes, I think the closest that I came to giving up was during that first year, especially in the autumn, when I was running out of options financially, because my family was supporting me, but the money was very tight because like Romania, it was like not at that level of Denmark. And for them, what seemed a lot of money, like it was like almost nothing here. So I was applying then everywhere, but getting no answers. And I genuinely started to doubt myself if I can do this, how long can I still go. But a habit that I think I built that time and that I'm still using today is what I think I would call structured persistence. So instead of just randomly applying, I started being more systematic, and I would go out in the evening to specific neighborhoods. Neighborhoods and zone. I would leave my CV at specific businesses and then tracking what I've done. It was not very cool or something, but I was trying to be disciplined. So let's say every day after school, I would go for 2-3 hours and deliver 50 CVs. So I would still try to do that. But then it became very, very hard on me. And that's when I was close to giving up, because it felt like every evening for a couple of months. So like 50 CVs a day. When you take that for a couple of months, it's like 1,000 resumes. And I was applying also online. And yeah, when you hear not even rejections or nothing back, it gets to you.
Yeah. Andrei, can you walk us through your first real job that you landed in Denmark, like a case study? Like, what exactly did you modify in your resume that overall changed the response of your outreach?
Yeah, so I think before having the European Bartender Certificate course, I had a CV with basically almost nothing on it. I mean, there was information. It was one page, but it was mostly school-related stuff and extracurricular activities from Romania and things that I've done. It was some high school stuff, but no real kind of work experience and no Danish language skills and no certification. So I was handing these in restaurants and bars when they had, I guess, stacks of application from people with actual experience and Danish. So in that context, I was almost like invisible. But then I did that European Bartender School. I think I was here for 6-7 months at that point. So it was in January 2013. It was like 1 month, very intensive. It was practical, at the same time theoretical. And then when I finished, I updated my CV with one key major addition, and I put it front and center. I said that I have a professional bartender certification, and that was it, like one line at the top. But it changed everything because it answered kind of an employer's real question that, can this person do the actual job from day one? So before, my CV was full of potential, let's say, but now it had proof. It had proof that I can actually come into your bar and actually do something because I'm a certified bartender. So I think the lesson here is
Yeah, go on.
The
Sorry.
lesson here is something we now teach like millions of users at NovoResume, is that your resume is not a biography where you just list everything about you, but it's an answer to a specific questions an employer is asking. Because at the end, the resume is a marketing document. You need to sell yourself that you can solve the problem of the company or organization that's hiring.
So, Andrei, you went from 1,000 rejections to building NovoResume. So, can you tell me what the one uncomfortable truth about how opportunity really works that you think most junior job seekers still do not want to accept?
Yeah, I mean, don't mean to sound harsh, but I think that an uncomfortable truth is that nobody owes you an opportunity just because you applied. And I think like nowadays, lots of people expect that, oh, I applied, so they owe to get back to me. But you have to think that a company gets like, let's say, 1,000 resumes for some specific jobs, or on average they get 250. So you cannot expect that they have time to reply to all of them. And what I learned is that opportunity usually is not distributed fairly, and it goes to people who make themselves impossible to ignore. And that means that doing work before you actually get a job, sometimes it means investing in a skill, building a portfolio, volunteering, doing something that gives the employer a reason to actually pick your resume. Because in my case, for example, I volunteer during my studies, and I always encourage people to do so. And not because it looks nicer on a resume, but because it puts you to work with people who can change actually your trajectory. For example, I got my second job as a librarian assistant at my school's international office when I did my internship. And that was mostly because I was the right person at the right time. And it wasn't luck mostly, but it was me showing up consistently in places where actually opportunities can find you. And I think that would be the hard truth, that the job market doesn't reward effort. It actually, I think it usually rewards relevance. And yeah, when you make yourself relevant, it takes more than
People
just
don't want to
hitting
ignore
apply.
you.
Yeah.
So, Andrei, would you say you believe in storytelling when applying for a job or like inputting that into your resume?
Yeah, I mean, depends how you put it. But storytelling, I think it might fit actually better in your cover letter in most of the cases.
All right, mini timeout. If this episode is giving you ideas, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's free, it helps out a ton, and it means you're officially part of the community. Okay, Andrei, now I want to try something live, like right now. So I'm going to open up ChatGPT and type in a simple prompt. Something like, hey ChatGPT, can you make me a resume about a high school student who is 16 years old, in grade 10, has around 30 hours of volunteering, is a club leader, and part of a volleyball team, and has around a 91 average. So I'm going to input this in ChatGPT, and I'm going to share my screen really quick. So you can see my screen, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I input this into ChatGPT. Okay, it's giving me objective, education, leadership experience, just like general stuff to put on a resume, right? So, and I'm sharing this with you now. And can you just tell me what's generally wrong with the output generated by ChatGPT?
Yeah, I think most of the times, especially when it has to do with the resumes, I think it's trying to be extra. That's how do you say it?
Like generic or?
Yeah, extra generic, and make lots of stuff up that everyone will then have in their resumes, like as you have there, like under leadership experience or all the bullet points. It's actually some meaningless bullet points because it sounds cool, but it doesn't actually give me
Add any
nothing or any
value.
information. Yeah, so it lacks
Okay.
it lacks usually the percentages, the numbers, because like organized meetings and coordinated club activities, but that doesn't tell anything. You should say how many meetings you organized and what actually were the results of those
specifics.
meetings. Yes.
Okay.
So
And
it's usually not good at giving that, and that's usually what we try to do in NovoResume. Yeah.
Okay, so what buzzwords or mistakes should we watch out for while using like AI to write our resumes? Because I know ChatGPT does that a lot.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Team player, hardworking, and all those, yeah. It's doing it a lot, and you need to be very careful on on ignoring that advice usually. And the mistake that I see lots of people doing it is that, they put that in ChatGPT and they copy paste everything and then they just send it and they don't even personalize it. So I think that's very important. And of course, AI is very helpful and ChatGPT is very helpful, especially in the cases of young people when you actually stare at the blank paper. So you don't know, okay, what should I do now? And you feel like you have no skills. So it helps you to start.
Get an idea of what to do.
Yeah. But after that, I would really encourage people to take a step back and then think a lot of what makes them unique. Because you need to imagine that everyone is asking ChatGPT this. And then if a recruiter gets 100 applications that all of them look like this,
like what's unique about yours?
Yes.
What makes you stand out? Exactly. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here now. And I wanted to ask you, like, let's flip this. Can you tell me what NovoResume would do if I were to input the exact same experiences into NovoResume?
Yeah, so what we are trying to do, it's not live now, but we are working on it to improve it. And it was exactly because of these pain points that we see from recruiters and also from users that we are trying, like, from your title and from some basic information that you included, to give you already some suggestions that have numbers and achievements and make you think. And we have some placeholders like increased, let's say, increased engagement by X% by doing Y. So there are some formulas that you can use to push people to think like that, to provide actually like the results that they actually created and the results that they brought, because that's the most important thing for a recruiter when they read a resume, and that will help you most. And that's what we are trying to do, and encourage people all the time to not be generic and to think of the content that our AI generates, that this is just something to start from, but you need to make it yours. You need to add your voice to it, because otherwise it will just sound generic. And now even the ATS systems and recruiters will just ignore it. If they read the first two lines and they see it's just generic, that they will just skip to the next one.
So you, Christian, and Stefan are working on this, your co-founders, and you guys turned a simple resume idea into like a serious product. So how do you guys evenly divide roles and power so that the founding team is a multiplier and not just three people just stepping on each other's toes?
Yeah, so in the beginning, we were all studying different things. I was studying service and tourism management with a focus on marketing. Stefan was studying computer science, and Christian multimedia design. So we all have very different but complementary skills. So we were perfect to build something because we had skills on the all parts. If we would be three students from marketing or three developers, that would not work because we would have the same skill. So
you need someone in design and someone to we need different people from different.
And it was easy in a way to split the skills because we each had an expertise, and we kind of agreed that, okay, when it's a development or website decisions, like Stefan has the experience and the skills and the input. So there's, I cannot bring anything to that table. When it's about marketing, marketing and research, I would be the person that would take, let's say, the
responsibility of that.
Yeah. When it would be design, it would be Christian. So it was easy from that part to assign the tasks and to assign who is responsible of what.
Back in 2016, resume builders weren't exactly a sexy startup story. So what did your critics get completely wrong about the category? And what can Gen Z founders learn from this about picking the so-called boring problems?
Yeah, so I think it was back then in 2016, and like even now, I mean, now it's everything, it's AI businesses. But I think at the time was a lot of everyone wanting to build the next social network or the next marketplace or the next e-commerce, let's say, giant. But usually nobody wants to touch resumes because it feels like this problem was solved because you have a Word resume template, right? But I think this is like where usually critics and some people miss, is that just because something is not exciting to build doesn't mean that it's not painful to experience. Like, because we know that millions of people sit in front of a blank document, as we talked before, paralyzed, not knowing what to write, how to format it, whether their resume will get past an ATS or not. So I think here that a lesson for, especially for Gen Z founder, can be that boring problems usually are the most profitable ones because nobody wants to compete there. But like sexiness in businesses, that attracts competition. but boring actually attracts customers most of the time. That when we started NovoResume, we were not pitching that we are disrupting the resume space, but we were actually solving a very specific problem, very real pain point that we personally experienced. Like I personally experienced that I sent
Millions of people
thousands of
had.
times. Yeah. And I think, if you felt the pain yourself, and millions of
You would
others
wish
feel it
someone
too,
had solved this problem somehow.
Yeah. And that's not boring. That's business at that point.
All right, Andrei, I want to talk about Playbook now. If you had to hand Gen Z founders a 3-part career capital playbook based on everything you've learned of how to position themselves, how to signal value, and how to build leverage over 10 years, what would go into each part?
Yeah, so I think the first part would be positioning, because most people describe themselves as by their job title, like I'm a marketing manager, but that tells me nothing. By this, what I mean is that positioning means that defining a specific problem that you solve better than anyone else. Like at NovoResume, we didn't say we make resumes. We actually said we help people get fulfilling careers, and that's a positioning statement. Like for a Gen Z founder or job seekers, I think the exercise is the same. That what's the one thing that you do that creates a tangible outcome for someone else? You can start there, and not with your job title, not with your degrees, but start there. Then the part 2 would be signaling value. And I think this is where most people usually fall apart, because they list, as it was with the ChatGPT content that you showed before, it lists just examples and responsibilities instead of results. So it says usually I managed social media, but it should say that I grew Instagram from 2,000 followers to 15,000 followers in 6 months, generating 340 inbound leads, let's say. And this is the difference, because one tells me what you did, but the other tells me what happened because of you, because of what you did. Okay. And this applies everywhere, like whether you're writing a resume, pitching to investors, or posting on LinkedIn. I think that when you quantify the impact, that makes a huge difference.
Okay. And how would you say building leverage over 10 years? What would you put into that part?
I think you need to know that early in your career, you trade time for learning, and you need to take roles where you're, let's say, underpaid, but you're overexposed to skills, like skills, network, decisions. That was like, in my case as well, as a bartender, because I was a student, so I was not paid the biggest salary. So for the amount of work that I was doing and staying extra and working late nights and until 5, 6 a.m. I was, let's say, in a way underpaid for that, but I could see like what the management was doing. I learned communication, written communication, and you learn to read people. I think I got lots of skills that help me even now, but they were from a job that would not make sense. And then I think around year, when you're 3 to 5, you need to start creating assets, content, the product, the portfolio, and also relationships that compound. That's why I think networking is very important, and especially when you're a student, because that's where you need to make lots of friends and that have the same interests as you. And then by year 7 to 10, you should be already in a position where opportunities find you, not the other way around. And the mistake I see people, they're optimizing for salary in year 1 when they should actually be optimizing for learning.
For experience or learning. Exactly.
Because the money will follow then the skills, always.
So Andrei, you've seen millions of users get hired across different industries. So let's strip away design and templates. And what becomes the recurring behavior or pattern for people who consistently get offers that founders can copy for landing customers, investors, clients, or even talent?
Yeah, so I would think here that it's actually specificity. Like that's it, I think. I think that the people who consistently get hired or land customers, close investor and all that, they are painfully specific about the value that they bring. Like what I said before as well, like they don't say I'm a hard worker or I'm passionate about this space or I'm passionate about AI, but they actually say like I increase retention by 22% by redesigning the onboarding flow. And here's exactly how. So
specifics, right?
Yes.
For founders who heavily rely on AI to write resumes, LinkedIn profiles, or even pitch decks, what is the most dangerous hidden flaws that you see, like things that won't be obvious to regular people, but investors or recruiters will almost instantly see them?
Yes, I think the biggest danger here it's something that I call impressive but empty. Because I think AI it's incredibly good at producing text that sounds professional and polished. But the problem here is that the recruiters and investors have read like thousands of those, so
Instantly
they can
tell them when
recognize
it's AI.
generic language, yeah. AI or
Okay.
even before it was generic language because let's say as an example, AI loves the phrases like results driven professional with a proven track record of delivering innovative solution. But what's that? Because that sentence says nothing. It's just filler words dressed as substance. And it's the same with a recruiter that I think it was that on average they spend 6 to 7 seconds on a resume. And if
Exactly.
the first two lines sounds like they were generated by a prompt, that I think
They
you've
won't even
already
bother
lost
reading
them.
the rest of it.
Yeah. And also I think
Okay.
AI also creates false sense of completion most of the time. Like this is exactly on what you showed before as well, that people would paste their info on ChatGPT, you get the results and you think, I'm done. And that's it. I don't have to do anything. And that makes you actually skip the hard thinking, the actual reflection that makes work meaningful and gives context to your numbers and to the information that you put there.
And so, how would a recruiter or someone like instantly know that you do that?
I
Like,
think
other than the filler words, like, is there like another way that they can possibly know that you haven't even bothered? You just put it straight into ChatGPT.
yeah, if you don't personalize it, yes, because if it sounds too generic and not addressed to their specific needs, it because the same when you see ads online, we are bombarded by ads, and you can see when one is tailored for you, when kind of one knows you're targeting, and you're like, oh, I actually need this product or I need this.
Exactly.
And it's the same with resumes. Like when a recruiter would read resumes, they know exactly when one speaks their language, and it's not just general written for all the jobs
Like
out
any
there. Yeah.
job, exactly. They're personalized to this job and why I should apply. Why should I even be hired for this job? Okay, I understand. Andre, that's it for the questions. So now I just wanted to thank you once again for being here. And if this episode shifted how you think about resumes, hiring, or positioning yourself as a founder, don't let it stay as inspiration only. Take one play from Andre's book, rewrite a bullet point, refine your LinkedIn, or redesign how you evaluate your next hire and execute it in the next 24 hours. You'll find links to Andre, NovoResume, and all the resources we mentioned in the description below. And if you're building something as a Gen Z CEO or as a founder and you want more episodes like this, subscribe to the GenZEO Playbook podcast wherever you listen. Leave a comment and share this with a person who needs to hear it. I'm Rayan Ali, and I'll see you in the next episode.